Hey there and welcome. Thanks for joining me. If this is your first time to my channel, I hope you consider subscribing. And don't forget to click on that bell button so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. So today I have 3 different DIYs for you. The first one, you'll need one of these rings. They come 2 in a pack. They're like the mini Wreath rings. And you're going to need 3 bags of the little plastic diamonds that you can get at Dollar Tree as well. And for video purposes, I'm only using my hot glue gun, but I highly recommend you use either the Fix-All glue or E6000 to attach your sequence to your ring and just let it dry overnight. But again, for video purposes, I just used my hot glue gun. And what you're going to do is use your glue on either side of the diamond and then just attach it to your ring. And as you can tell, the rings, there's 2 rings on this wreath, and they're perfectly they're perfect size for the sequence itself, so they're placed right in there perfectly. So you just continue doing this throughout your entire ring, or your entire wreath. And I used 2.5 bags of the sequences. I didn't use quite all 3 bags. So I would recommend you just go ahead and get the 3. That way you can make sure that you have enough. And this is when I started thinking, wow, I can use this for so many other different projects. So I'm actually thinking of making something with this as a light fixture. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are interested in seeing some sort of light fixture, basically using something like this, this wreath diamond. I want to call it my diamond wreath, but I'm thinking I'm going to make it into a light. But let me know in the comments down below if you guys are interested, and if I get all the details and figure it out how to do it, I'll make sure to go ahead and make a tutorial for you guys. But for this one, just go ahead and continue adding your diamonds. It doesn't take too long to do, but when you do make this and you are going to use your Fix-All or E6000, I would recommend you let it dry for at least a few hours or overnight before you move it and start adding whatever decorations you want to add onto your wreath, just so the sequence can stay in place. But since I'm using the hot glue gun, this was instant. But go ahead and allow it to dry. Once it's completely dry, you can do whatever you like with this ring. And I just decided to keep it simple because I wanted the diamonds to be the basic focal point. So what I decided to do was go ahead and get some of this ribbon. It's the wired sequence ribbon. There's a gold, silver, and red that I know of at my local Dollar Tree. And I decided to use the red at first. But you'll see at the end, and I'm sure you've seen with the pictures already, that I decided to go ahead and replace this red ribbon with gold ribbon. And I did that because once I started looking at this more, I thought if I used a different color, I could use it all year round, not necessarily just for Christmas. But if your colors in your home are red, then it's perfect to use red. But you can use any kind of sequence ribbon or just a plain ribbon, or even jute twine if you want to add that country flair or farmhouse flair to your glam wreath. But this is a simple little hook, just basically wrapped around the ribbon of your choice around your wreath, and then the same ribbon just hot glue into a hoop and a hook to hang it. And here is where I ended up changing it to gold. Now, my question also, I made a bow. Should I put the bow on here or should I take it off? Let me know in the comments down below what you think I should do. And then our second project is going to be 2 candle holders. And basically, what I'm going to do is spray paint 2 of these glass candle holders that you can get at Dollar Tree. They're always around. And I just had these from a previous project, already spray painted gold. But spray paint them the color of your choice. You're going to need 3 of the diamond glittered, mirrored and glittered ornaments, and then a bag of the napkin rings. And what you're going to use is E6000 and your hot glue gun. And you don't really even use the hot glue gun that much, just a little bit. At least that's what I did. I wanted this to make sure that it stayed in place and it was permanent. So I used my E6000 basically for the entire project more than anything else. Just add your glue to the bottom of your ring. And again, just add a little bit of hot glue if you like, just to make sure it stays nice and secure faster. Place it onto your candle holder. But go ahead and place it on there. And then you're going to get one of your ornaments. And these ornaments are so beautiful. They're the glass. They have glass, decorative glass around it, or I'm sorry, mirror. And the gold glitter as well. There's also some silver, so they all look silver, but I wanted it to be the both gold and silver, so that's why I decided on these ornaments. But go ahead and glue with E6000 your ornament on top of your napkin ring holder. Just be very careful and try to line it up as best possible that you can. It took me a while, that's why I was kind of happy that I used E6000, because it doesn't dry and stick as fast. Once I did find out where I wanted it more or less, I would add just a little dot of hot glue. And then once you're done with this one, adding your candle holder ring and then your ornament and then another napkin ring, now you're going to add your E6000 on top of the second napkin ring to add your mirror. And I decided to go with the round mirrors. There's also square. Or even a tray if you'd like, the little trinket holders, trays that they have at Dollar Tree. You can even use those. Just make sure, kind of eyeball it and make sure it's in the center of whatever you decide to use on the top of your candle holder. And then set it aside and allow it to dry. Now for our second candle holder, we're going to use 2 other ornaments instead of 1. So basically it's going to be the same process. Just adding E6000 and hot glue, adding your ring, napkin ring on top of your candle holder. And then you're going to go ahead and get your first ornament and basically glue it onto your ring. And make sure you use E6000 or permanent glue of your choice, and just a little dot of hot glue once you've figured out where the center of the ornament is. I highly recommend you do that first, so it won't stick, and that way you'll have a little bit of time to move it around and make sure it's nice and even. Then you go ahead and add your second ring to the top of your first ornament. And here I'm flipping it over because I figure if I flip it over and it stays in place and it doesn't tilt any way, then that means it's straight. So this is the way I figured out how to make it nice and straight for me to add my second ornament. So once you've allowed that to dry a little bit, go ahead and get your second ornament. And if you notice that you're going to have to cut a little bit or the top of your ornament in order for it to fit inside the napkin ring. So just cut a little bit off. You don't have to cut too much off. Basically just the little hook and a little bit of the ornament itself. So I just cut it to the second mirror of my ornament, and the little square. Then you're going to line up, or as much as possible, line up the lines from first ornament to the second ornament. Once you've done that, go ahead and add your E6000 or permanent glue. Then you're going to allow that to dry and add your third and final napkin ring on top of your second ornament, making sure it's nice and straight. And then you add your E6000. And right here, I'm going to add my mirror, and I just removed my stickers off of my mirror. Add a little bit of hot glue, and then flip the candle holder part over my mirror to make sure it's nice and centered. And then I just set those aside and allow them to dry. Now, our third and final DIY today, we're going to need 7 of the 5x7s and 2 of the 4x8s, I believe they are. I'll make sure I leave the exact measurements down below of those picture frames. And you're going to flip 3 at a time over. And I got these hinges. There's 2 in a pack from Walmart. These are like the mini hinges, door hinges, and I believe they were about $1.50, no more than $2. But I'm sure they have them on Amazon, and I'll make sure to leave a link for some hinges like this on Amazon if you'd like down below, to order them on Amazon. And what you're going to do, or what I did, was the picture frame was too thin. It wasn't thick enough for me to use the nails that these hinges come with. So I decided to go ahead and use E6000, making sure the hinges were in the center of my picture frames, just like this. And then I just flipped it over and I made sure it was nice and firm onto the frames themselves. And then I'm going to allow that to dry. And I did that to both hinges, making sure, taking my time and making sure the frames were nice and even. And I did this to 3 first, and then I did the other 3 of the 5x7s the same way. And I went ahead and set those aside and allowed them to dry. Now I'm going to get my 2 4x6s and my 1 5x7, and this is what's going to be the top row of my divider. And what I did was basically the 4x6s, I flipped them to their sides, making sure that the bottom of the 4x6s were flush and even to my 5x7 picture that's in the center. And what I'm going to do is add the hinges in the center of my 5x7 and my 4x6s. Just kind of eyeballing it. Again, adding my E6000 to my hinges. And here I added a little bit of hot glue just to make sure that it was easier for me to move it around, and setting it aside and allowing it to dry. And I did this to the opposite side as well. And after I did this, I decided to go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue and glue them on to make sure that they stay nice and put up in place, because not only so I can move it, but also because I decided to go ahead and add some thumbtacks to the back of my hinges. And I just used one of these soft hammers, or mallet, I believe it's called. And I just hammered my thumbtacks into my hinges where my nails are supposed to be, or screws. And it doesn't take too long. And I'm pretty sure if you're strong enough, you can just push the thumbtack into the picture frames, from the hinges. But I just use this hammer, soft hammer, and it was a lot easier for me just to hammer it in. And it doesn't take too long. So I went ahead and did that to all of my hinges. And this is the way they look in the back, which was nice and neat instead of having a screw. And this is the way you can fold it, either inwards or outwards. So once you've allowed all of them to dry, all your picture frames and hinges to dry, go ahead and put them all together. You're going to place, or at least the way I did it was I placed 2 rows of 5x7s of 3 each. And then the top row, I'm using the one with the 1 5x7 and 2 4x6s. So I'm just kind of straightening them out, making sure they're all nice and even. And all my picture frames are nice and straight where they should be. And I decided to go ahead, before I went to my my third and final way of gluing these together, I decided to go ahead and remove the back lip of these pictures. And I left the bottom ones with the little lips, I call them, just in case we needed them. But to be honest with you, you don't, so you can go ahead and remove those. And in between all my picture frames, what I did was add a popsicle stick using E6000 and hot glue to connect both picture frames together. And I did this to every single one of my picture frames on every end. In other words, you can do 2 by 2. So you'll need about 10 of the popsicle sticks, 10 to 12. But what I did was just basically, as you see here, just adding E6000 and hot glue and placing them on the ends of my pictures. And what I did to the top one, since the very back of it doesn't connect to my 5x7, it's a little bit larger since I tilted them sideways, I decided to go ahead and add a popsicle stick in the center of those as well. So you can leave it as is and just allow them to dry. What I ended up doing was actually putting some Mod Podge on them and adding some glitter to my popsicle stick. And here you can see where I still haven't shaken off the excess glitter from my popsicle sticks, but I just thought it looked a lot neater and you won't be able to see the popsicle stick. Because I am thinking of using this for even like a quinceanera or an anniversary or a wedding, to add your pictures, memory pictures or photos of the loving couple. So this is why I did that. And what I'm doing here is adding a hook to the back of my picture, the highest one on the center picture, frame, I guess you could say the top one. And I added it upside down because that way I can add a wreath or a sign that says Mr. and Mrs. Or for now, I'm going to add my wreath that I made. And this is the way my candles look, my wreath, and then my divider. So which one's your favorite, or do you like them all together like I have them? I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and share with friends and family. It'll help my channel grow. Until next time, you guys stay blessed. Bye.